McDonald. Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Well, I want to tell you again, I'm going to be at the Brea Improv. I'm going to be doing 4 shows of stand-up on March 25th and 26th at the Brea Improv. Justin Martindale will be performing with me. Then we're doing the Super Bowl of Juicy Scoop, the Super Juicy Scoop live on Sunday, March 27th. And for the first time, I'm allowing you guys to purchase it and watch it within the few days of after we originally do it in person. So if you can't make it, if you want to see it, you can do it. And if you're part of Patreon, there's a special discount. Go to Patreon. Go to heathermcdonald.net, click Patreon, and you're going to see that I left a special post with the instructions of where to get it. If you're not part of Patreon and you want to do it, not a problem. You just go to heathermcdonald.net and you'll see right there where you can purchase. It's through Moment House. You go to momenthouse.com/Juicy Scoop. This is really exciting and fun, and I know you guys are going to love it. And that's the info for that. Okay, you guys. Pete Davidson and a Winter Park couple are among the crew for the next Blue Origin launch. This is through Jeff Bezos. I don't even understand it. Okay, they take people like on a little like Star Wars trip or whatever. I don't know how much it costs. I don't know why they choose the people. I don't want anyone to like be hurt, but honestly, if Pete Davidson goes, I would like to also add Kanye and just like maybe they just get lost in space because I was exhausted. I tried to have a beautiful Sunday celebrating my 83-year-old mother-in-law and my 1-year-old cousin's birthday on our boat. And I was just inundated by what the hell was going on with these a-holes. It was just too much to take. It all works out great because all this press is for the Hulu Kardashians show. And I've seen the trailers. It's a lot of drone shots. It makes me appreciate being part of LA. LA only looks beautiful in drone shots, and it's a lot of that. And they all look beautiful. They have beautiful homes. They have cute little babies. What more do you want, okay, in a show? But what I love about the trailer is that the producers are trying to make it more edgy, where you like hear the voice of like the producer when they do their confessions, and it's like, so what does it feel like to be back? Be back? Oh, you mean just from filming the show? Because I feel like we follow every one of your moves on Instagram and then we talk about it and everybody writes about it. So I feel like just because you haven't been filming the reality show for like 8 months, it certainly doesn't feel like, woo, I'm back. Like, anyway. So Pete Davidson, as you know, I agree that he and Kim are boning 100%. Are they benefiting from the fact that they're boning and making them each bigger stars and putting eyes on the Hulu show and putting eyes on SNL and putting eyes on Pete Davidson as a comedian? Yes. But are they boning? Yes. Which I don't think is a big deal, really. Okay. So what happened was some friend of Pete Davidson's decides to share phone text messages between Pete and Kanye. And in a nutshell, it's Pete in a bed taking a photo like this, which then somebody, Skinny Not Fat, noticed that there is a KIM. It literally looks like he took a red Sharpie among all the tattoos and just, he didn't even find like an open skin mark. He just like wrote like Kim right here. I don't think that's like super wow. Like when someone like Pete Davidson gets a tattoo of you, I don't think it's like that big of a deal. It's like, okay. Like you literally have not one space of skin left on your body. Like unless he put Kim on his forehead, I'm not impressed. Like finding one little nook under your armpit. Okay. Anyway, so he does this thing and he says to, Kanye, let's talk. Like, be a man. You're being awful. My girl is the best mother ever and kind of hot. My girl, anyway, best mom with 4 kids. Like, let's talk. Kanye writes back and he's like, we can talk at Sunday services. He's like, no, I don't want to go to church or your weird church or whatever you call it. I don't want to go. But he's just like, let's talk after. It all gets put out there because the friend of Pete happens to share it. And then Kanye does a video And he's like, really? This guy's saying he's in my wife's bed because he's like, where are you now? And he's like, in your wife's bed. He's like, Kanye goes, I thought it wasn't my wife. I thought she's not my wife anymore. Why are you referring her to my wife? Again, back to the kids, this and that, and Pete saying like, she is a good mom. It was just so exhausting. And then he's like, I'm here for one day. I don't know if these are old messages. I don't know if we're supposed to believe that Pete did SNL, got on a private jet, came here, got into a bed at the Beverly Hills Hotel that Kim just happened to be in. They took these photos of them that she posted, like just kind of like, she was doing that thing that Courtney was doing with Travis where it's like a bad photo, like it's slightly blurred, like, I don't even have time to find one that's not blurred. I'm so authentic. And they're like on, like in a hallway, like, hey, and Chloe's like, love this. And then people noticed that in one Twitter photo that she posted, it had like a printed carpet. And the next, she photoshopped it out to be a clean carpet. And then people were like, well, she's doing that so people don't know where they are. Other people are saying, no, she did that so aesthetically it looks more like a Skims thing, like on her grid of the Instagram. I don't know, whatever. But I'm saying, like, was this old messages? Was this? Then Kanye starts going after DL Hughley. And someone's like, oh, my God, he's going after comedians that have fainted. I guess he showed a video of DL Hughley. But DL Hughley fainted a year ago. So it has nothing to do with the fact that I fainted. Or that also this weekend, Hailey Bieber said that she had some type of a stroke situation happen, and they went to the hospital and they noticed that she had a small blood clot, a bleeding on her brain, but now she's fine. So that was a big thing. But anyway, then DL Hughley is getting attacked by Kanye because DL has made some pretty profound statements that make a lot of sense about the fact that Kanye needs to be on his drugs and get better. And we should not, if this person wasn't rich and famous, we would be really concerned with the way he's acting towards the mother of his children. So he's now not a fan of DL's. Also, speaking that he's a comedian, Pete Davidson also in the text to Kanye said, I've been good to you. I've made sure that there weren't SNL jokes about you because you're the father of my girls' kids. I've even had personal comedian friends not talk about you because I'm such a good guy. Like, we're all going to be a family. Just call me back. I'm in your wife's bed. Okay. Anyway, so DL then says in a tweet, ain't it weird that hashtag Kanye supposedly has all these goons who will kill for him, but not one of them will get his prescriptions filled. Here's a thought. While you're on your way to kill me in Calabasas, I guess he lives in Calabasas too, how about somebody drop by CVS and pick up his Xanax? LOL. Hashtag Team DI. He is funny. This was actually a tweet that he did a while ago. So they've been at it. He did this March 13th. So he did this last week. So they've been going back and forth. March 13th was yesterday? Oh. I'm one of those comedians with a head injury. So yeah, they're at it. But hey, who was talking about DL recently? People have not been talking about DL Hughley. He's a really funny comedian. He has a great, radio show. He's a smart guy. So that's a pretty clever tweet. Meanwhile, in all of this, Kanye went to not one, but two different basketball games in two different cities with his new girl, Chaney Jones. And she has a little baby Birkin. I guess it was left over from the baby Birkins that he gave to Julia Fox's friends. You know what I'm saying with Uncut Gems? All my girlfriends got baby Birkins. It's a lot of stress to take care of a baby Birkin. It's like taking care of a baby. So she has a baby Birkin, and she's at a basketball game, and unfortunately now she has to wear gloves. Ugh, like who the hell? Even when I'm like skiing, I hate wearing gloves. It's just like nothing works. It's hard to touch your hair. It's hard to like fix your face. It's hard to eat. It's hard to work on your phone. So just like imagine, like, okay, Kanye, like it's just a lot. It's just, anyway. Here, when she doesn't have the glasses on, she doesn't look that much like Kim. She's very pretty. Okay. Meanwhile, Kim has been motorcycle riding in a Balenciaga outfit. And Kim got a lot of shit this past week because in her Variety interview, which they filmed and went viral about their Hulu show, she said, I have some great advice for those who want to be entrepreneurs. Get up off your ass and work. Nobody wants to work anymore. And Khloe's like, so true. So a lot of people, including Jamil, who is full of shit herself. I mean, look up the YouTube video that somebody put together of all the times that she lied and exaggerated numerous health issues for sympathy. Okay, she's like, move over, Munchausen's, because she's got her own thing going. But just like a lot of people, I'm going to say something really harsh back right away to Kim so that people are like, you go, Jamil, Jamala, Jamay, or whatever. And so she's like, really? Basically the gist is people are very offended that Kim said this. They're like, get my ass off and work. I've got 3 jobs. I'm a single mother. You have, nannies and chefs. You came from privilege. You had private school. You had a trust fund. You had all these opportunities. And yeah, you made a lot of money out of them, but like your experience. Listen to me. Do you really think that Kim Kardashian is so elevated that when she speaks, she is thinking about every individual person's experience? She's not. She, in my opinion, was saying from her own experience, all these young girls that want to be me, that want to be social influencers, that want to be designers, that want to be models, need to get up their ass and work a little harder. She's talking about her own bubble of life and the kind of people that she has hired. Some have been wonderful, but obviously some have disappointed her. This is how I'm evaluating it. And so when she said it, and that's why Khloe's like, absolutely. Like, I just had someone that screwed up the cookie display last week. How hard is it to line up the cookies? I taught her 3 times. Like, really? Nobody wants to work anymore. No one wants to line up my beige boots. Like, I'm exhausted. That's what they're talking about. They weren't talking about every single person in the world that, has to work, as a maid you think she was thinking about the maid at the hotel, at the Motel 6 when she was saying, you want to be me, get off your ass? No. And okay, Skims, you guys, I talked about how the under tit movement of showing under tit is the new cleavage, is the new side cleavage. And I said my prediction was going to be that they were going to show FUPA now, naked FUPA. People sent me a Skims with just the FUPA, which is the fat upper PUSSY portion of your body. Okay. A lot of people don't know what it is. And I said, that's going to be the new thing that people are going to highlight. I swear to God, within 48 hours, Skims created it. And first someone sent it to me and I'm like, is this a joke? Isn't Skims supposed to be like a Spanx that sucks you in like a girdle? Why would you ever want to highlight the little poochy part of your tummy, the lower part of your stomach? Well, now Skims has an after hours thing. So again, I don't know why a guy would be like attracted to high-waisted like shorts to go to bed in and then just have just your like least attractive, softest part of your stomach, even if you are fit, like, and then have it squeezed. So it's like banded around the top and then like a triangle V to just like pop out. Like, so even if you're thin, if you got this, you're going to look like you had a turkey meal or you're entering your second trimester. I want to know if anybody has bought these and your man was like, hey, give me that FUPA and those Skims. I have no idea. I don't get it. Let's talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake. They concluded the season with part 3 of the reunion. The husbands came out and lots has transpired. So first I just want to pop over to here. Whitney Rose's husband, Justin, confirmed on Facebook over the weekend that he's no longer employed by Life Vantage and he was a chief sales officer since 2015. He did lots of emojis, lots of little hearts. It almost seemed like she wrote it, but he just said one door's closing, and all this other stuff. And so the word on the street is, what I would think. Did this company ask him to step down because of being on the show, particularly the naked scene, which Annie didn't even bring up? Like, I wish Annie would have been like, how embarrassing was that you guys had to, like, get in wet paint and your wife was naked and she, like, slap her ass. They hinted a little bit of, like, oh, in your companies, like, why do you know so much? Because remember, Whitney was the one who was explaining what the charges were against Jen Shah and how you collect data and then hook someone on a subscription and then it keeps getting paid and then you sell that data to someone else that can then bleed this person dry, maybe without them knowing it. They're like, how do you know that? She's like, I just know about it. And everyone's like, Okay, so he said, look, she is my retirement. She's, we're so happy. They put all this money into her own skincare line, which I think is pretty smart. So now he no longer is at this company. Now they just have this one. They're filming right now. I think they'll be fine. Heather has been very supportive of Jen. She held her hand during the whole time. And at one point, Heather Gay said about Jen, I don't care if she did it or not, I'll still support her. I understand that you want to be her friend because she scares the shit out of you and because you're on the show together and you want the show to continue. However, if you knew somebody that is claiming to be a victim of what she did, your mother, an aunt, somebody, I think you'd really feel differently. I feel the reason she is getting not the treatment that an Erica Jane is getting is just because we know who the victims are of Tom Girardi's cases. We can literally see them. We saw the burn victim. We saw, we hear their stories. Like, because it's like elderly people, and even though they did like a Hulu doc on her, I think people are still just like, it's just not tangible enough of what she did. Her husband comes out, Coach Shah. He's a pretty charming, delightful guy. And, Jen's sitting there and she's just like, I don't understand why Whitney goes, I always questioned, her spending habits, that how wealthy she was. And she's like, really interesting that you guys all question how the brown girl got her money. And I'm just like, what? And then the husband goes, listen, my wife's been working for 20 years. All that designer stuff you see in her closet didn't just happen overnight. She's been collecting it. I'm like, are you basically saying she's been scamming people for decades? Like, she hasn't just been scamming people for a few years, people. She's been scamming people for decades. Like, you might want to shut up. Then they show their audition tape where she's like, I spend $50,000 a month just on clothes. And he's like, oh my God, you should see how much luggage we have when we fly private. I mean, they actively pursued wanting to be on this show. Andy brings up the whole Uber story of when Heather Gay said, I put Jen Shah in an Uber. I saw because it was my Uber. I guess she didn't know how to use an Uber app or maybe didn't want to pay for it. She sees that the Uber drops her off somewhere else within 5 minutes of dropping her off instead of taking her 45 minutes home. She now explains that she was not dropped off at a lover's house. She was dropped off at some guy who has stolen from Heather Gay. And so she didn't want to tell Heather Gay that guy was going to drive her home, but she wanted that guy to drive her home because it was a 45-minute drive and she was still friends with that guy, but Heather Gay didn't know. Okay, that was one super weird story because the actual Uber driver has been interviewed, but at the same time, maybe that guy, whether he's gay or straight or what, I don't know. But they all thought that that's who she was boning. So then Andy goes, Coach Shah, Jen Shah, do you have like an open relationship or have you ever had infidelity? And they're like, no. Then he gets into the day that she was arrested. And from what we remember from what we watched, Jen answers the phone. Hi, baby. Oh, okay. Can someone take off my mic? Yeah, my husband has in the hospital with internal bleeding and I can't go on this trip. I have to go right now to the hospital. Okay. Then the Homeland Security came. She's not on the bus. They find her on the road with her aunt. They go to the house. They think she's at the house. Then we see that Jen and her husband submitted the ring footage of them knocking on the door and looking for Jen, in which everybody in the house at the time had to come out like this, which is really sad because she had teenage boys. She also had a nephew there, the nephew's wife. But that's what they do when they arrest people. I'm sorry, that's what they do. And but then Andy was like, I wonder if they did that to Stu's kids. That's her assistant that has already pleaded guilty and they haven't talked in a year. Kind of insinuating like, did they only do this because the color of the people's skin? I mean, I don't know. But that whole thing, her assistant, she's like, well, he wasn't really my assistant, but he wasn't really my partner either. And then they show clips where she's like, aren't I a good boss? Like shoving a banana in his face. He's like, and then he's like, let me see what we're doing here. I mean, like they worked together for years and he's already pled guilty. So then Andy's like, she's like, I'm going to fight this thing. I'm going to fight for everybody who can't afford to fight charges like this themselves. I'm going to trial. The trial was supposed to start March 22nd. I read somewhere it's been pushed to July. So that's nice so she can finish filming this whole season and we can see her, cry about it or not cry about it. She says it's so hard to get out of bed, that the kids, her sons have to get her out of bed. And you find yourself feeling sorry for them because you don't want to see any mother like separated from kids. But you've got to remember her closet and what she's being accused of. So, she's still mad at Lisa Barlow. I don't even know what for. Lisa Barlow called 20, attorneys in the van after she was arrested because she wanted to know the scoop. I don't blame her. And that's about it. We really don't know. Oh, the biggest news. So then Coach Shah said, what happened was I wasn't feeling well and I was in the hospital and I have rectal bleeding. That's a big issue. So I had my assistant take my phone and call Jen. That is the call you see. She thought it was me, but it wasn't. It was my assistant saying, I'm in the hospital with Coach Shah. Can you come? And so she's saying all that is true. That call was not them warning me that the feds were at my doorstep or on their way. It was my husband's assistant saying he is in the hospital bleeding. So I'm headed to the hospital, and only once when I'm headed to the hospital, and then he goes, and then while I'm in the hospital, I hear that the feds are coming to the house. They never clear up like, well, did you just stop the bleeding? Like, what the hell? Like, it's so shady. They clearly have each other's back. They clearly have a plan, and they're sticking to it. And I will say, Jen, I don't think her face has ever looked prettier. She doesn't look all harsh and pulled back. The purple thing was weird, but the purple eyeshadow was like sparkly. It did bother me that one of her crystals that she like took from a grandma's chandelier, there was one missing right here, and I could not get past it. Also, there was bad editing. At one point, she had like a bottle of water, like an Arrowhead cheap bottle of water, and then the next, like she didn't. Anyway, who cares? You're like, who cares about the fucking bottle of water? Then Jenny, she is the new girl who got fired for the racist tweets and memes and posts over the summer of 2020. Her husband, who's a chiropractor, comes out and he's crying. Okay, they had two weird storylines that we all thought were fake. Okay, one was let's have more kids because 8 years ago we had a stillbirth, and even though you're 43, I still want to have one more child. Now, that is very sad that they lost a child, but it's to nobody, it made no sense why you're pushing for your wife who had 9 other miscarriages to get pregnant again. So he brings that up, Andy. The husband's crying. He's like, well, that's why I wanted a sister wife. The other thing I thought was a complete lie storyline. He's like, I thought I'm results oriented. And I thought, you know what? By having a sister wife, that is a quick way to get another baby. You know what? Thank God you're gone. I don't even know. The fact that that wasn't made up, the fact that you doubled down on this weird storyline that made no sense makes me realize that you guys are weird and I don't want to know any more about you, and goodbye. Meredith's husband comes. He's got COVID or something, so he's on the big screen, or somebody he knows does. He, is like, oh, I hope that Lisa and Meredith can make up. Because, again, we all have to be on the show together. We all want to stay on the show. Then, at one point, Lisa gets up and hugs Heather and Whitney and is like, I hope we can get along. I hope we can move on from this because we're going to film the show and we all want to stay on it. And then she goes back to her side of the couch and he's like, well, you guys just had a really nice moment. And then Heather's like, look, I just wanted Lisa to be in the ugly with me. I just wanted her to be in the ugly with me and just be honest about the fact their life is not perfect. I don't know. It wasn't great. I never want to see these outfits again. I never want to see someone with just one glove, let alone two. I'm not into the feathers. It was just the worst set I've ever seen. But anyway, we'll see what happens with the rest of them. Okay, Jussie Smollett. He was sentenced to 150 days in jail, and he has to pay some fine. I can't remember, a few $100,000. While he was being sentenced, he started screaming, I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. To again bring attention to himself, like, people are out to get me because of the color of my skin. And I believe if something happens and you find that I've killed myself in the jail cell, I hope everyone feels guilty because I did not do it. And people are out to get me. I'm not safe in jail. And they did put him on suicide watch because they're like, well, now why don't we put you on suicide watch? Like, if you really, we definitely want to make sure that you don't kill yourself and then make it look like somebody did it. And then we have another big Jussie Smollett thing on our hands. I don't know. Let me have a prediction of what I think is going to happen to him. I don't think he'll ever be on. No, I take it back. He is going to have a come to Jesus in prison. He is going to finally, once this is all done and there's no reason to lie anymore, he is going to tell his truth and why he did it. And somehow he is going to win enough hearts back that he will work again. That's my prediction. Okay, Gabby Petito's parents have filed a lawsuit against Brian Laundrie's parents for helping him get away. And his, because what all went through those horrible days where the parents weren't cooperating. They weren't answering. Well, of course, Brian wasn't answering, but then they weren't answering once Brian went missing, and they feel like that was helping him get away. However, the Laundrie family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, tells TMZ, as I've maintained over the last several months, the Laundries have not publicly commented on my direction, which is their right under the law. Assuming everything the Petitos allege in their lawsuit is true, which we deny, this lawsuit does not change the fact that the Laundries had no obligation to speak to law enforcement or any third party, including the Petito family. This fundamental legal principle renders the Petitos' claims to be baseless under the law. So, I mean, I don't know. Are they assholes? Yes. Were they in a weird, crazy position where your son is guilty? I don't know what you're supposed to do, but does it constitute an unlawful, something unlawful? Maybe not. Maybe not. I think it makes a lot of sense. So I don't know that they're going to prevail, the family of Gabby, which is really sad. A little update on Sherri Papini's. So her one pal is still supporting her. Her name is Heather Gay. No, just kidding. As you know, Sherri Papini is the missing mom who had everybody in a tizzy for 22 days thinking that she was dead because she was faking her own kidnapping. The friend is like, well, I think she just, went for a shot at love and probably feels bad about it. Okay. We all saw the dude. They never slept together. It wasn't for love. And then people that know them are like, I'm still shocked because the husband was so nice. And she actually wrote people after she got back and thanked them for their support and flowers and this and that. As you know, she's facing a lot of charges. One being that they took $49,000 from a GoFundMe and spent it, and another $30,000 of a victim's fund that they had to apply for and spent that. I really want to know where the husband stands. What I think is because I've been thinking a lot about this. I think the husband absolutely thought she was missing. I don't know when he may have found out. It could have been like a Vicky Brooks situation. Remember when Brooks was faking cancer, and Brooks said, and then at one point I think Vicky found out. This is Real Housewives of OC, and it was just too late, and she was kind of liking the attention she was getting from having a really sick boyfriend. I think that's what happened. I think at one point, and I don't know, but I think probably within the first year of her being home from the fake kidnapping, I think the husband realized what a monster he was married to, but was like, well, now what do I do? Now we're in this situation, and we also spent this money. So I don't want to call her out on it. The money was pretty nice. The $79,000 was pretty nice. We paid off her debts. We got things going. I'm like grossed out by it, and that's why I think he's not necessarily going to be arrested or anything. But I think we're going to find out that he definitely knew more. Maybe not during those 22 days when she was missing, but I think he knew after. And just like Gone Girl. It is just like Gone Girl. This from page 6, Chloe Cherry, who is the girl in Euphoria on HBO Max, which I am now watching season 1. And oh my God, you really have to take it in small doses. And like the way I watch HBO Max is different than the way I watch like Bravo. It's like a whole different remote. And I just, oh my God, I like have to like, I'm trying to fast forward like the full frontal nudity of like some of the worst penises I've ever seen in my life and the worst bodies. And it just hops up on you and you're just like, oh my God. Like I love the acting. I love the stories. I believe that all these stories are actually are definitely happening to youth, okay? But like, it's basically porn. But anyway, I did not know that she was a porn star before she got this part in the show. She plays one of the teenage girls. She developed an eating disorder at 18 when an agent in the X-rated industry told her that she was fat. Okay, you were a porn star at 18, and the worst thing that happened is that the agent that was booking you for stuff for you to have sex on camera said that you were fat. That's what caused the eating disorder, not the fact that you're 18 and doing porn. Basically, Euphoria is porn. I mean, it's the most graphic thing I've ever seen. And it's kind of a shame because if we would just take a little bit of the porn out, I think it would be a great thing to watch with your teenage kids. But you can't really watch it with your teenage kids because it's like, I mean, okay, this is an awful outfit by Lady Gaga. I'm not following I don't even know what the movies are. I'm not into it at all. But this looks like she took 2 of the last masks that you don't have to wear anymore in LA this week. We'll see what happens next. And just put them on her tits, like she just, and put them over her arms, like a black face mask, put them over her arms. And then it's like 3 different outfits. It is so bad. I'm going to post it on my Instagram too. I think it's one of the worst outfits I've ever seen. It's like her tits have sunglasses on or something. I don't know. It's bizarre. Real Housewives of OC is let me try to think what's going on. Not a lot. I thought this was kind of interesting. Heather Dubrow says they're making this big drama saying that Shannon Bedore is jealous of Gina and Heather Dubrow's friendship. And Emily keeps bringing it up. And I'm like, this is so dumb. Isn't Emily and Gina friends? If everyone's going to be jealous, it's going to be them. It is such a dumb storyline. Like literally, I think they're like meeting in the woods of the OC to like plot out this stuff because it makes no sense. And then Heather Dubrow's like, oh, please, Shannon trying to act like she's having more fun than us. Oh, what does she do? She gets drunk and jumps in her pool and her Spanx. That's her shtick. Done that. Been there, done that. Who'd she do that with? I'm like, she did it with Tamra. She did it with all these people. So I thought it was like kind of pretty snarky and kind of fabulous of Heather Dubrow to say, hi, just want to make you guys aware. She does the same shtick every time. It's like, let's get really drunk, which I've told you, like, can't you guys just have like interesting conversation? They have to get really drunk. And then they have to be like, aren't we funny? We're taking off our clothes. I'm going to wear my Spanx. and, other people are going to actually show like their lingerie, and we're going to get in the pool. And then Noella has no top on at all. And oh my God, these women are crazy. They're not that crazy. Who cares? Cher, Page 6 reports that Cher has apologized to her fans for being MIA on social media for the past few days, citing personal problems. Now, listen, this isn't Cher's fault. She just did that, and Page 6 had nothing to report on. But I'm like, really? It goes on. I did that joke the other day saying that, I'm just going to take a break from social media. And oh my God, so many people, mostly personal, like people in my life, like my mother-in-law, other people are like, what's wrong? What? I'm like, don't you get it? I'm making fun of Hilaria. But but people really feel like if they go just a couple days off of social media, they're like, let me just tell the fans, I was going through something. I just could not bring myself to like post a photo of myself. The YouTubers have been obsessed. A lot of certain types of YouTubers that have a lot of followers have been obsessed with my epic fall caught on camera as I performed at the Tempe Improv. And this one, they really had some fun with it. They actually put in like a Jesus statue knocking me down in the video. And Jesus says, I don't even know who you are. So it's just like the comments are just, not only is it that like Jesus doesn't love me the most, is like now they're saying like Jesus, like I'm so not a good comedian or famous that Jesus isn't even aware of who I am. And I'm like, well, isn't that the whole point of believing in Jesus? That like he knows who everybody is because he's Jesus and he's like God and he's not just like an average person that like has to have a Rolodex in their head of every single person. But anyway, good times. And I'll be back at the Tempe Improv to make up these two shows on April 9th. Everything is at heathermcdonald.net, along with how to be able to watch the live Juicy Scoop in your leisure a couple days after we actually do it. It's all there. And now, you guys, I know you really enjoyed the juicy conversation I had with Jill Zarin. Well, we get into some of the funniest and juiciest stuff regarding Ramona and some other housewives. And here's the rest of that interview. So enjoy. Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. But you see me because you're watching this. But have you subscribed? Have you told a friend? Have you liked it? Have you copied the link and texted it to someone you love or you just feel like being a nice person to? Please do that. It keeps us going. So if you like watching Juicy Scoop here on YouTube, subscribe, like, and share. So I'm here with still with Jill Zarin. We made her stay because we had a little more to talk about. And we were looking at the beautiful photo of the New Jersey girls. Their makeup and everything does look really good. But then you started talking about what?
Well, just something I've thought of. It's like, how many times or how many clothing, is labeled in all the Housewives shows with Louis Vuitton, Dior, Gucci, and Chanel?
Well, it's a lot now. And it's kind of interesting because I remember Tamara from OC saying, that wasn't a big thing when we first started.
Sky tops.
And it's the sky tops and all that stuff and the BB shoes and the BCBG. And it wasn't a labeling thing. And it was kind of Heather Dubrow that actually was living a life of, high-end brands that kind of brought that to the show. And then
that's how you remembered it was her?
That's what Tamara said, at least for the OC.
Oh, okay.
So then they started upping their game. And then as each season came, and I think as the other franchises, and just in life, things have become more labelly conscious.
Yes.
So I think that they're like, oh my God, I'm going to be filming a show in a couple months. Let me borrow stuff from friends. Let me buy some things. Let me get a couple fakes here. And let me look like a rich bitch.
I just, you know what it is? It's more of a sociological thing, right?
Yeah.
I find some clothes, like, listen, I am like the biggest hypocrite right now.
Yeah,
I am the biggest hypocrite because in my suitcase out there, I have a Louis Vuitton coat that's all LV on the inside, not on the outside. But, and it's a gorgeous coat. But I just, sociologically, what is wrong with all of us that we want to spend enormous amounts of money to buy, honestly, an ugly jumper with a bunch of G's on it? Or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Or whatever the letter is.
I think it's the reaction you get. Because if you do buy that jumper, people will, I mean, I've noticed myself, I don't have a lot of labely things, but my labely things will get so much more positive reaction from personal friends to strangers to whatever to
so
comments
go deeper.
on
So
my
why do we care? Right. So why do we care?
I think
I care too, but why do I care? Why do I care?
I think people are just made aware of it. If you're just wearing like a pretty pink dress, I think people are not like, wow, that's a pink, that's the prettiest pink I've ever seen. But if you're wearing like,
if it had a big D on it or a big G, it'd be like, I love that.
Ooh, and then it's also letting the person giving you the compliment also wants you to know that they're aware that that's high fashion.
And expensive.
It's expensive, it's high fashion. But then there's this part of me sometimes where I'm like, well, wait a minute. I don't think I want the same purse that a 16-year-old has walking through the mall.
Right.
Like, I don't feel like it's like cool anymore.
Because they're wearing, you mean because they're wearing Louis Vuitton?
Because I'm just like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, if a 16-year-old can afford it.
I know, right?
Like,
I don't know. It's just like this it's more of like a marketing sociology studies. Like, how did this company, it's actually now like one or two companies that own all the brands.
Right.
And now there's there's a collaboration between Balenciaga and Fendi, I think.
Yeah.
You can, because they're both owned by the same parent company. But like how they spend all this money, to get us to buy into this bullshit of a jacket that costs $3 to make, selling it for $3,000 versus $30. Yes, it may be a little bit better quality, but really probably not. Just sociologically, why we feel that we need to have that to make ourselves feel better. I don't know. Just, I
don't know if it's necessarily to feel better or it's kind of like this, like, I've worked really hard. I can afford this. I've made it. I never thought I could walk into a Louis Vuitton and buy anything. And now I'm at the point in my life where I actually can.
I know,
and
but why
do
you
experience
care?
that?
I know that, but I'm just
saying,
I
think that's the
because it's an experience.
I think it's the psychological part of it. And it's like, yeah, or I want to give this Louis Vuitton wrapped box. I want the experience of giving that to someone too. Like,
and the box is so important. You can't just give them the bag. It's got to be wrapped. It's got to be. I mean, I have to get a gift now for Saturday.
Yeah,
and I want it to come in a nice box and look beautiful and everything else.
Right.
So I got to find a place to go get that today.
All right, because we're going to Ocean's birthday.
That's right.
Okay, so wait, I have a couple more questions from What Would Jill Zarin Do game show. Okay, what if your sister-in-law heard a rumor about you being a stripper? This is from New Jersey, way back when a rumor went around that Melissa was not just a cocktail waitress at the strip joint before getting with Joe.
Well, there's a lot of things that you have to know the answer to. Number one, if it was true, if it's true, does your husband know? Like if it was Bobby, let's say not Melissa, let's say it's Jill. Jill and Bobby. Did Bobby know that I was a stripper, but I've been keeping it a secret?
No, Bobby doesn't know. You were.
I'm trying to hide it.
You were a stripper at one time.
And I'm young.
Yeah.
I'm a young mother, and I'm trying to hide it, and someone outs me. Again, it goes back to, did you really think you could keep that a secret on a reality show?
Right.
Right? So you can't be mad. You can't hate the player, hate the game.
Well, first of all, I think Joe probably did know. If she did strip, we still don't know if she did. But if she did at all, I don't think Joe knew and doesn't care. It wouldn't affect their marriage. But I don't think she wanted it out on the show.
I know, but I think that was I don't know how old she is, so I'm going to make it up.
Now
she's a 35-year-old Melissa.
Yeah.
Now a 40-year-old Melissa is probably like, I wish I could still be a stripper. I wish I had that body again.
Nene completely.
Well, she does have that body.
Nene completely owned it. She was like, I was a stripper. That's where I met.
Right, that's you de-weaponize them.
She's like, I made good money. I realized I was a single mother, and I was like, how can I make the most money?
And I'm like, good for you.
Yeah, how can I make the most money for the least amount of hours away from my son? And I'm pretty enough to make that money. I'm damn proud I was a stripper. She owned it.
And I like that.
But I like when
people own it.
Maybe Melissa wasn't a stripper. And she was.
What I don't like, it doesn't. Okay, I never like people to hide it because you have to know it's going to come out.
Yeah.
What I don't like is the venom that the girls had to out her.
Yeah.
That's what bothered me.
Well, I
didn't like the venom. They wanted to get her. They wanted to hurt her. They wanted to hurt her.
The whole backstory of that, because I interviewed the Kim D I'm trying to remember, but she was like a peripheral friend that kept coming around.
Not peripheral. She was like major player.
Right. She had a lot to do with it. But that was a whole thing of allegedly, Teresa making sure that was said when the cameras were there to look like what? Like throw it out there, like,
The instigator.
Yeah, throw the grenade and then walk away.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Well, listen, everybody has a role on their show.
Yeah.
And I think that, like you said, as soon as you start to lie, it's hard to cover it up. And then there's the other person who's like, tell the truth, tell the truth, tell the truth. I'm not going to give up until you tell the truth. And then it's like, tell the truth because then you disarm them.
Right.
Okay, I was a stripper. You're right. You're right, Heather. You're right. Okay, you're right. And I would be like, you're right. Now what? You're right. Okay, there we go. Bobby, you're so lucky. I was a stripper.
Yeah.
And look at the prize you get now. So you should thank Heather for outing me. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can completely disarm people that way.
Exactly.
But that's the thing, that's an old Jill Zarin. That's a 58-year-old. 40-year-old Jill may not think that way.
Exactly. And also I think strippers, even 10 years ago when this was the storyline, it wasn't seen like now, God, I just think it has a different attitude.
No, that's an older Heather. And
I think people,
that's not, if you were young Heather with little boys in school, you might feel differently.
Yeah. And now it's like, and also just our attitude in 2022 is very different about, sex work at all, whether it's dancing or OnlyFans, whatever. I think people just had a
that's true too. Now with
less
OnlyFans,
judgmental
opinion. Gary really wants me to open up an OnlyFans feed account. He's like, just show your feet. I have great feet.
Yeah.
He's like, show your feet. This girl on that show, 90 Day Fiancé, she says she's making over $1 million. She's made over $1 million. Now, I don't think she's showing just feet.
Yeah, I don't
But
think so.
a little tit and a foot, and you get a new house. Are you kidding me? Take it.
I think it's a lot harder than people think.
I don't know if it is, but I can't do it. It'll kill my brand. But let me tell you, I would if I could.
Yes, I think there's certain people that can do really well, but just like anything else, just like not every podcaster makes a lot of money.
Don't.
Not everybody's a Larsa Pippen, and she probably got in at the right time, and she worked it the right way.
Wait, can we correct
she knew
something
how to
though
do
right
the right
now?
Photos.
She did not make $10,000 a day. I think she meant $10,000 a month. When she came on the show and she said the number, whatever it was, I said to myself, she made a mistake. She meant a month. But they never corrected it.
I don't know. If you're on it,
I'm not saying now she is.
If you're on, she was making money by messaging back with people. Each time someone messaged her, they had to pay for her response. And I'm like...
Before she was on TV? Well, I guess she had been on TV before.
But I'm saying if literally she spent 8 hours writing back guys, which every time they had to pay her $5, $10 for a response, and she was on for 8 hours a day with different people.
$10,000 a day?
And maybe she even had an assistant doing it simultaneously with her to other people. I think,
if she's making $10,000 a day, $3.5 million. And now, by the way, and she just got divorced from Scottie Pippen. I heard she got like $40 million. Why is she even on the show?
Why is she doing OnlyFans writing back truckers if she got $40 million?
Why?
That'd be like 2,000 texts a day.
Yeah, I don't think she was getting 10. I think it was 10,000 a month, but now it probably is 10,000 a day because she was on there.
Right.
But I just think at the time they made a mistake. That's just my personal opinion. Larsa, I would appreciate if you straighten it out.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was kind of sad that she had to do it. I'm like, she has to do this,
Well, that
Scottie
could be
Pippen,
again. That
as
could
they're
be
getting divorced.
That could be an ego thing too.
Yeah, like you want to feel sexy
makes
and
you
hot.
feel sexy. I do too. By the way, how do you open an OnlyFans account?
It's very easy.
Have you ever seen? I want to see what it looks like.
I have no desire to do it.
I want to see what it looks like.
We're not doing it.
Oh my God, you sound like Gary.
Gross. You said Gary wants you to do it. I'm saying no.
No, Gary does.
But
he kids.
Speaking of one of the great moments of just owning what somebody, Ramona yelling at Bethany that she did some light nudity in some cheesy movie.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, and your daughter, and she's like, mention it all.
Mention it all.
Mention it all was great because it was
That
like
was the
people
best.
going, yeah, really? You think I care that I might have like shown my boobs when I was 22 trying to be an aspiring actress. Like, I don't care.
I mean, just think about when she walked off the stage because we were talking about a half nude maybe boob of Alex McCord and she couldn't even talk about it. And she meant it. It wasn't fake. See, back then everything was very real. I mean, like you couldn't even know how to think fake. Like it was what it was. That was like the first reunion we ever had. I was wearing a Team Jill shirt, okay?
I have it right here.
Oh, you do? Thank you. By the way,
the back of my surprise
I do.
Sweatshirt.
Wait till you see. We just, we're making some swag for the summer.
Yeah.
I made these sweatshirts, like an orange sweatshirt, and it's Orange County. I think it says like Real Housewives. So it's like the most beautiful sweatshirt. I have to show it to you. Like drop dead merch. You're gonna want. Anyway, whatever.
Okay, listen. Go. So
okay.
I forgot what you were
Team Jill. I was talking about the original reunion when Ramona got up to leave.
And then
she was the first one to walk off a reunion.
Right. And then cut to last season, again, just like Whitney on Real Housewives of Salt Lake, they were all just full tits out. Remember they were all dancing around with just their boobs out? Ebony.
Oh. My
Ramona.
God, the biggest hypocrite I've ever met is Ramona Singer. She's running around the show naked every season now, and yet she couldn't even be in the room talking about a boob.
Right.
Boy, has she evolved.
Yeah.
Right? Is she a hypocrite or has she evolved? I'm not sure.
I think you can choose it. You can choose
Politically
it.
correct. Are you a hypocrite or are you evolved?
Okay. This is the juiciest thing that happened all year.
Okay.
Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Lisa Barlow had it with Meredith.
Oh, my God.
And she had the hot mic on. I talked about this with Lala. She had their mic on. She went into a room. We now know that there was a producer in the room.
Oh, there was a producer in the room?
It's photographed. You can see.
No, they said that. I thought that they said that there was no producer in the room. Lisa said that she was alone by herself. I listened to that reunion. She said she was alone by herself in that room.
Listen, here it is, okay? She's talking.
She comes out and says, here, you can have your mic back.
Okay, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror where I'm pointing in the fourth one. There's a man there in the room.
There's a man in that room.
Yes.
Holy shit. You're right, she lied. She said on the reunion, I'm telling you, she said I was alone in the room. Oh, boy.
Her dumb-ass family that poses.
But you know what? Honestly, she's only on the show's second season. And, I mean, I don't know how it is now. I know that when I was on the show, if there was no camera, we were told the audio was off.
Okay.
If you didn't have a camera in front of you, your audio was off. I mean, now, and I should really be careful because I'm doing my interviews tomorrow for, I mean, it's not a secret. I'm here because I'm doing interviews for Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. When we're doing the interviews now, even if, like, we're doing it and then I'm like, can I just go to the bathroom? And then I come back and I sit down and I have my soda and I say something to the producer like, oh, my God, do you remember that, blah, blah, blah. That could be on the show, even though I think I'm not being filmed. And I have to remember that now. Back in the day, if I said that, that's not in the show. Like, I knew what was on and I knew what was off. There was no such thing as a hot mic. Hot mic didn't happen on New York until, I mean, the one I can think of most recently, and maybe there was one before, was when Barbara said something about Luann's boyfriend in the bathroom on a hot mic.
Who's Barbara?
Barbara.
Barbara.
She said something on a hot mic.
The laser removal lady.
And Radziwill was having a conversation. It was Radziwill's mic. It was hot. It was the season before Barbara was a housewife.
And Barbara said something rude about
the boyfriend.
About Tom.
About Tom.
And
because Carol had a hot mic. And I'll tell you something, though. I'm not to bring up whatever, and I said this to Luann. Luann was really mad at Barbara about that. And I said to Luann, and this is the truth, you have no right to be mad at Barbara about that. That was not Barbara's mic. I mean, yes, you could be mad at her for thinking that. That's fine. But the fact that it got on TV, you can't be mad at her. I mean, Carol had the hot mic. Barbara's not a cast member. Barbara didn't sign a release. You know, you really shouldn't be mad at her for saying what she said.
Before Barbara was on the show, 1 year before.
That's why they picked her up the next year.
Oh.
Because she was her friend. Anyway, they made up or whatever. But I know in the beginning she was mad at her. And I'm like, you should not be mad at her.
Not Barbara the laser. Barbara's the contractor.
The contractor who ran for mayor of New York. By the way.
Cool. She's cool. I like her.
No, whatever. I'm just saying that she got accused of whatever because she was a hot mic. It wasn't her mic. So this whole thing of a hot mic, I don't know if now, I know that when I was on the show, if even now, because I would think back to what it was, I would think that if there's no camera on me, I'm not being mic'd. You're not listening to me.
Well, I remember when I first heard it thinking that she was ranting by herself. And I was like, it's kind of a weird cadence of ranting by herself.
I could say it to myself.
No, but
that fucking bitch. She's
but the way she was saying it with like her family, her dumb fucking family that poses because your husband always changes jobs every 5 minutes. Oh, I'm offended.
No, but even if he was sitting there, she definitely thinks it's not being filmed. Think about that. The producer's sitting on my bed, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you're my producer, or you're my producer. You're sitting on my bed in my room, and I come back from filming, and I think there's no camera there. And I'm talking to you off camera like you're my friend. I'm like, that fucking bitch, I'm so mad at her. And I would never think that would get on the show.
I am saying, as a viewer, when I first heard the mic rant, I'm imagining her alone in the bathroom talking like that. And I thought, that is weird the way she's talking. Now, knowing that she was venting to an actual human in the room, the cadence of that rant makes a lot more sense to me. That's what I'm trying to say.
But it's irrelevant to the fact of should Meredith be mad at her and how should she handle that? You know what I mean? Like, again, the show is about hearing people's thoughts that you're not supposed to hear. Right? When I'm in the
you're a fly on the wall.
When I'm on the I'm in the chair talking about something in real life, that's what you're never supposed to hear. Like when I walk in here and you're like, that fucking Jill Zarin just came. She's such a pain in the ass. I can't stand. She talks too much. Whatever. I'm not supposed to hear you thinking that. Right? But on the show, when I walk out of Heather's room and she talks to her audience at YouTube, she's going to tell them what she really thinks of me. I mean, that's what the show is about.
Yeah.
So that's what Meredith signed up for.
Yeah.
Okay, so she, and that's what I think Meredith, I hate to say this, I think Meredith's fake mad. I think Meredith really isn't mad at Lisa. I think she knows the game. Like I think
totally disagree.
Really?
I think she is really hurt and mad.
I don't know. I think she
Here's
knows
some
what's
of the quotes
on.
That Lisa said.
Oh, I guess I'm completely
Her and a
wrong.
dumb fucking family that poses because your husband you can't own a house because your husband changes jobs
That
every
would make
5
me mad.
minutes.
Yeah, that would
Because
make
I'm
me
not a
mad.
fucking whore. I don't cheat on my husband.
Well, no, I think she should be mad at what she said, but she can't be mad that it was like said publicly. I don't know. They're not real friends, obviously. If they were, they're not anymore.
That's
never
what I'm
will
saying.
be.
I don't think they can.
They'll never be. But they're filming together now, so I guess they made it work.
Well, people want to be on the show.
Well, there you go. So, but when I went with Bethany and I said, we're done, I'm done, I didn't mean that. And she did. And so she left the show.
Right.
You know, these girls are not leaving the show.
Yeah.
But, you know, that was the reason why what happened to me is because one left the show. If she had to come back the next season, we would have had to make up, even if it was fake. Right? I mean, a lot of these relationships, they may start out as real and then they become fake. Or they become actually real. Like, I almost think that in a weird way, Luann and Ramona have become friends after all these years. And I don't mean friends like they trust each other or BFF, you know, holding hands and going on vacation together. But there's some history. When you have a history, you call that a friendship. Yeah. I mean, I would almost say the same thing about me and Ramona after all these years. You know, I felt like calling her last night and saying, how could you slam the elevator on Gary? And you know what she would say to me?
Ramona?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know what you're talking about. It never happened.
Okay, I'm going to do Ramona and you do yourself.
Okay, I'm going to call you up on the phone.
Okay.
Ramona.
Hello?
Did you just come into the building?
How do you know where Jill, what are you talking about? How do you even know
because
where I am?
Gary was trying to get on the elevator and you literally closed it on his face.
Gary who?
Very fucking funny.
You know what, Jill? I'm just going to talk to him and be really honest with you. Okay, I've had a really long day trying to do real estate. Okay, I'm actually exhausted. Something, you know, a lot of people don't realize I actually have a listing that I'm trying to sell. Okay, so I wasn't really thinking about your boyfriend.
You know what? You always say that, and that's fine. And I do believe you that maybe you didn't, but I think you should call Gary up and apologize. It was really nasty.
Okay, you know what? You just tell him I'm sorry. Okay, I'm really, really sorry. I'm sorry if
I'm
I
not
hurt
going
your
to tell him
boyfriend's
for you.
feeling.
You do what you want to do.
I don't know if I have time right now. Okay, I'm trying to write.
This is exactly what would happen, by the way.
I'm trying to write an offer right now. Okay, I have a really expensive listing. Okay, with multiple offers. I don't know if you know about real estate right now, but it's like very difficult.
Well, I hate
really
to tell
hard.
you this, but you know what? He was with someone right next to him who was looking at real estate and would have recommended you had you not slammed the door in his face.
You know what, Jill? If you're a really good friend and supported women because it's
You're
National
so
Women's
good.
Day,
You're
I
so
support
good.
women. I support women. And I would tell.
Oh my God, you got me.
I would think that you'd want your
done.
good friend to show the houses.
I'm done. You got me. You see, she always gets me. She always gets me. She always gets me to be sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I called you. Is that crazy? That's exactly what you would do.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
So I'm not going to do it.
No. Jill, can you tell us when this Ultimate Girls Trip is going to air, or you don't know?
I have no idea.
Season
and if
2.
I did know, I couldn't tell you. But I
Okay.
have no idea. But I do have a hint.
Okay, can you tell me the hint?
Yes, in 2022, it will definitely air.
Oh, okay.
It will definitely be on.
Good.
I think it'll be on no later than August, if I had to guess.
And if there's another one in the works and they want to keep with some of the people throwing some new, because I did this with Margaret, because Margaret would like to do one.
Who would I pick?
Now, on your Ultimate Girl Trip, it was all no longer current housewives,
Correct.
right?
It was ex-wives. Club.
Okay, and the first one was all current housewives. Yes.
Except they didn't sign back Cynthia.
Oh, yes, but at the time we didn't know that.
Yes, I know. I'm just
So we could do a little mixture, and you're going to be in it. So let's pick 5 more girls for you to do something with on a trip.
that's a deep question because are they girls that I want to go with, or are these girls that make good TV? Big difference.
No, it's for TV. So you want to
Okay,
be with
TV
good
show.
TV. You want to be with good TV, but you also want to get to know these people and enjoy them at the same time.
So this is how I think of it. You ready? This is how I'm going to build the cast.
Okay.
I need an ally.
Okay.
So I probably need Luann.
All right.
Because I need some, or Margaret, or Cynthia. I need somebody who I trust, who I know has my, or Marisol, who I trust and has my back.
Okay, so pick one.
I have to pick one of them?
Well, I don't know. Pick a couple, and then pick 2.
I'm going to take Margaret because Luann and I have done a million shows together,
Okay.
and Margaret and I are newer.
Okay.
I'm going to pick Margaret.
All right.
Because she's very sassy.
Yeah.
And I think that Cynthia is sassy only if you provoke her, where I think Margaret will just jump in faster than Cynthia. That's my opinion. Although I'll tell you, Cynthia really brought it out on this girls' trip. She was sassy.
In the Bahamas.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
In the Turks. Very sassy.
I kind of think she was a downer.
She was a downer because she was mad. And she was sulking.
Yeah.
She was sulking. She was so mad, and I felt her pain because that was me. I sulked too. I could totally relate to her.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to pick Margaret. Then I'm going to pick someone who I know is going to be an instigator and just give it all. And that's probably Danielle Staub. Because I actually I'm bringing Danielle.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. I
With
need someone
Margaret
who can
there,
Oh,
I'm frightened.
Yeah,
They do not get along. Okay,
I just
keep
realized
going.
that. I just realized I may have to hedge that bet.
Well,
But
it might make
And I
it
went
fun.
2 on Jersey. Okay.
Go.
I got to diversify. I need a diversified cast.
Okay, go.
So I need to go to. I need to go somewhere else. I need
Go
to
to
go
OC.
to OC.
Now, you've already been with Tamara, so you don't pick Tamara or Vicky because you've already been with them.
I don't get to pick them.
No, because you've already been with them.
Poor Gina Keogh. I'd bring her because she hasn't been around in so long. I feel bad.
No.
Okay, I'm very loyal. She was the first housewife. Do you know Vicky? And I told this to Vicky. You can't really take credit for being the first housewife. You are the OG, and you've been on the longest, and you get the title, you wear the crown. But the OG was Gina. Gina cast Vicky.
No, that's not true.
She brought Vicky.
100% not true. Because it was Vicky's son, Michael, who saw the ad about being on a reality show. He called for him to be on, and the producer said, Are you serious?
Yes,
this is a story.
I never heard that story in my
so
entire life.
He called and then was like, well, my mom would be good for that. And so then he went over.
That's an understatement.
He went over and saw that Vicky was doing this coda de casa out of her house with this other divorced woman and Lori. And they go,
so they
let's
brought
see you guys in the pool and everything. And they go in the grotto, the two of them, and they're in their 40s, pretty decent bods. And then, Vicky knew Gina as
I didn't know
an
that. Okay, take it back.
realtor.
I've been going with that other story.
Well,
I don't know where Gina gave it to me. I thought maybe not. My memory's bad.
Maybe
okay,
they both have their own.
I don't think I want anything from OC.
Maybe the producer. Okay, no OC. Keep going. Beverly Hills.
Who
do you want from Beverly Hills?
Oh
Who
my
do you
God.
want from Beverly Hills?
I want Kathy Hilton.
Okay.
All right, because Kathy happens to be a friend of mine, and I just texted her.
Okay.
And I'm trying to see her this weekend.
Good. So we got you, Margaret, and
I love
Kathy.
Lisa Rinna. Oh my God, I would
Lisa
love to
Rinna.
film with Lisa. She's so fucking funny. And Harry Hamlin. I need Harry.
Well, Harry's not coming. He'll bring you the sauce. Okay, who else do we
you know
have?
I just sent her outdoor rugs? She loves them. I got her more.
I still don't have my rugs.
Did you pick them?
No, you've
You
told me
have to pick them. Do you want me to pick them for you?
Yes, because I'm so lazy.
I need to know the size
go.
and the color.
All right, just go.
Go. Lisa Rinna has them. Who else do I want? I love Lisa Rinna. I love Brandy.
We just
Brandy's
did it.
a good time. Oh, that's
Brandy.
why I already had Brandy. I already had a good time with Brandy.
Okay.
And then what other city do we have? We have Miami.
Okay, let's take someone from Miami.
taking. I love Marisol. She's like one of my best friends, but I might take Alexia just so I can look at her body.
Yeah.
And if I was going to be a lesbian, it's going to be her. I mean, she is a vision, in my opinion. Everyone has different tastes, right?
All right.
Different. I think Alexia is so. Oh, here's the picture. Okay, I still think Alexia is so fucking hot. I don't like that outfit though.
Also, I think you get people with kind of rich life stories because I liked moments where it was in the Ultimate Girls Trip in Turks where they're having breakfast and they're just kind of chill and they're like talking the way women our age talk. Like, was that hard when you found out that happened with your husband? Or, you know what I mean? And I kind of, Alexia, I've interviewed her and she has like such a deep, like interesting life, and she's like, I just think you need people with like a lot of life, so that when you're
a lot of storylines.
Yeah, that's why they were like hanging out.
That's why they won't give Marisol an apple or whatever the hell they have in. What do they have in Miami?
Nothing, I think.
I don't know. That's why they won't give Marisol the nothing.
They don't think that she has enough. She's pretty entertaining on the show. I liked her on the show.
What I feel like they've used her a ton.
Yeah.
And I don't watch every episode or anything, but I really did. I watched the first couple. But I mean, they had her on the reunion. They have her all the time. They talk about her all the time, yet they didn't give her the respect of giving her a full time, and I don't like that.
I remember, and I hope you won't get mad that I'm revealing this.
Oh, shit.
One of our
we have to cut it.
Weekends in Hamptons, you were like...
what did I do?
You were a little annoyed with Marisol because she was trying to poach your billionaire. You said, that's my billionaire. I don't know which billionaire.
That. I remember the conversation, but what we were talking about.
It was something like you had a party and Marisol
was
came.
It Marisol?
And
she
met a billionaire, and it wasn't a romantic thing. But then she was,
like, he's my billionaire.
Yeah, he was
but
contacting
I don't remember who
to like do business, do friends with. Well, you know so many billionaires, so I guess it doesn't
matter. But I do remember the statement. I remember the joke. I remember being like, he's my billionaire.
Yeah, he's my billionaire. You can't
I remember it.
I introduced you to my billionaire. You can't be making dinner plans with my billionaires and not inviting me.
Are you sure it was Marisol? Because she's so sweet. I don't think it was
She didn't do anything wrong. She thought it was fine, probably because she met 4 billionaires with you, and one she pursued.
She can have one if there's 4.
Yeah, but whatever. You didn't like it.
You know, the funny thing with all my talking of my billionaires and everything else, that after Bobby passed, I didn't go out with one of my billionaires. Okay, I had them all lined up. I went out with Gary. Is that crazy? I really was kind of excited to date a little. Not excited, like anything about Bobby. But I mean, I was like, okay, I've never been single. I got married at 23, and then and then I got divorced, and I married Bobby. There was nobody else. So I was kind of like, what will it be like? I had this image in my head, and then I never did it. Anything.
Well, it's all worked out. Okay, Jill. I love you. Everybody can get the Jill and Allie beautiful candles, housewares, clothing, all of it at jillandallie.com. And Juicy Scoopers get 20% off using the code JUICY20.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.